Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're all doing well as usual. So back today with another video, and as promised, I'm going back to my existing CD collection. So just changing it up with each video, and if you've been watching for a while, you'll recall that where I was up to in my CD collection was the letter K, and the last two CD videos I did were talking about my Kiss collection. So I did one video ranking 70s Kiss albums and another one ranking 80s Kiss albums. So I do have the albums, most of the studio albums from the 90s and beyond, but we're going to leave them today because there are some albums which came in the interim, and I'll explain that. So before I go any further, if you don't like Kiss, you don't need to unsubscribe, because what I'm going to do in the next video is make another black metal vinyl video, but I'm just trying to change it up to accommodate everyone. So I understand there are a lot of viewers of this channel who don't like Kiss. That's your choice, that's fair enough, but I'm just doing this to change it up. So yeah, next video will be black metal vinyl, but yeah, I hope some of you decide to watch this anyway. So yeah, so before the 90s albums, I'm just going to cover some, today's sort of like bits and bobs from the 70s and 80s. So I've ranked all 70s and 80s Kiss studio albums. So what's left within those eras or periods are solo albums, live albums, and compilation CDs. So I'm just going to get them over with in one clean sweep today. So we will start with the solo albums. And so if you're not familiar, Kiss in 1978, all four members simultaneously released solo albums on the same day, which was never done before in musical history or something. So of those four albums on CD, I only own two. So Ace's one I don't have, actually, that's my favorite. I have that on vinyl though, which I've shown before, and I also don't own Jeans. If I see that one at a cheap price, I'll pick it up, but Jeans was actually my least favorite because it was sort of like an experimental pop album with a cast of thousands, so that one didn't really grab me so much. However, if I see it at a decent price, I'll pick it up, but that leaves two to talk about it today. All right, so first of all, we have the solo album by Paul Stanley from 1978. Actually, I did speak about this in a vinyl collection update video, so I won't say too much, but yeah, so of the four albums, Paul's stuck pretty closely to the hard rock formula of Kiss, and as a result, a lot of people say that his solo album is the most Kiss-like of the four. To an extent, that is true, actually, if you think about it, because it was Paul and Gene who were the primary songwriters, and Paul and Gene sang most of the songs, so a lot of the songs on here don't seem too out of place or too distant from actually Kiss as a band. However, he did experiment with some new things and he did go in a few new directions, so it's more than just that. But absolutely great album. I really like most of the songs on this. There's just a couple of ones which don't grab me at all. But basically it starts off with Tonight You Belong to Me. That's got a great riff. That's very Kiss-like, very sort of New York in sound, which I really like. Track 2 is Move On, which is an excellent, catchy, bouncy, hard rock song. And to me, it's got a kind of Beatles-esque flavor, like a bit like A Hard Day's Night or something, but very subtly, like don't be put off by that. But it's a great hard rock song, excellent guitar solos. And by the way, the lead guitar player on this album for Paul Stanley was Bob Kulick, who was the guy who initially auditioned for Kiss, but then Ace took his job. But yeah, excellent guitarist anyway, so Move On is a great track. Then you've got track 3, Ain't Quite Right. This is where it starts diverting a bit from Kiss, because Ain't Quite Right is quite slow and bluesy and moody, but really good rocking song, I just love it. Track 4 is Wouldn't You Like to Know Me, which has a kind of great hard rock / power pop sensibility. Like Paul Stanley said he was influenced a lot by the Raspberries, which was a famous power pop band, but really catchy, really melodic, great song. And I love the riffs and the guitars in the pre-chorus of Wouldn't You Like to Know Me. The guitar solo again is excellent, preceded by Let's Go, and I love it. What do we have next? Sorry, this light is pretty shit. The next track, track 5, Take Me Away, Together as One. Paul was always a massive fan of Led Zeppelin, so that one has a real Led Zeppelin vibe and flavor. Like think of a song like Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, something like that, but really good. Excellent drumming from Carmine Appice on that. Oh, and by the way, I should mention at this point, with these solo albums, when each member released an album, they obviously got other musicians to help them, but the rule was they couldn't collaborate with fellow members of Kiss, so it was just like that one member and then other musicians. Okay, then we've got, track 6, It's Alright. I absolutely love that song. Very rocking, very catchy, excellent chorus, pre-chorus and chorus. You just want to sing that. I almost just pump my fist to that song. It's so good. It's Alright, absolutely classic track. Now, probably the only song I don't like on the album is track 7, which is Hold Me, Touch Me, and Think of Me When We're Apart. To me, it's just like a ghastly ballad. Yeah, I mean, I understand Paul's trying to experiment with some new things, but you probably have heard me say I don't really like ballads, so that song makes me want to retch, really. But just one bad song out of 9 ain't bad. Track 8 is Love in Chains, a very Kiss-like song, like it could have ended up on a Kiss album easily. Very catchy, very sing-along chorus. And the last track, Goodbye, that's interesting. That's a bit different to classic Kiss because it's got more sort of introspection and atmosphere, but I really love the atmosphere and the feel on that song. So absolutely fantastic track. So really good album. How would I rank the Kiss solo albums? I would, like I said, Aces is at the top with number 1. And then I used to say Peter's was my second favorite, except actually I'm leaning more towards this now because this is more hard rock, although Peter's album is very good and I'll get onto that shortly. But yep, so they have all the portraits of the band on the front, still with the Kiss logo. So this is what all of the Kiss solo albums look like, of course. Just got credits in here. And then each solo album came with a cool poster. So Paul, the Star Child, Starry-Eyed Lover. Yep. And to show you the back, and each album was color themed, you know, according to their outfits and their look on stage. But yeah, really good rocking album. So like I said, it is probably right to say it's the most Kiss-like of the 4 solo albums. And my favorite tracks would be Move On, Wouldn't You Like to Know Me, It's Alright, and Goodbye. But like I said, 8 out of 9 tracks to this on this are really good to me. There's only the ballad Hold Me, Touch Me, which I don't like, but excellent album. That's Paul Stanley's 1978 solo album. Okay, so coming up to the second of the solo albums, which I own on CD, we have the solo album by drummer Peter Criss, the Catman. Also, obviously, I don't need to say Paul Stanley, the Star Child, vocalist and rhythm guitarist. So Peter was the drummer, and he actually sang quite a few songs before this solo album, you know, like his famous hit Beth, and he sang Hard Luck Woman and Baby Driver and Hooligan. So people were familiar with his raspy Rod Stewart-esque voice. And what's interesting about Peter's solo album is it's very misunderstood. Most Kiss fans do not like this album at all. That's my understanding anyway. Whenever I see people ranking them, people always say this one comes last. But for me, I actually really like this album. When I first got into it, which was like 2008 or something, that year I listened to this album pretty much every day, and it reminds me very much of the circumstances in my life and where I was living, so it's very nostalgic. But actually really good album. So the reason why Peter's album is misunderstood is because it's just so different. It doesn't follow the hard rock formula of Kiss. If you're not aware, Peter came from a sort of jazz and soul background, and he liked that kind of music and Motown and all that sort of stuff. So he wasn't really a hard rock guy in terms of his personal tastes. But so what you have on this album is a collection of big band rhythm and blues songs, like not the shit modern pop, fucking ghastly R&B, but like real rhythm and blues, like derived from soul and blues music. Yeah, that kind of big band music with a lot of brass, and some bluesy tracks, and also there's several ballads, because of course he wrote the hit single Beth on Destroyer, and then he felt this pressure to write an equally good ballad, which I think he did on this album, definitely, except unfortunately they never had the same success as Beth. But good album anyway, if you're open-minded enough, check it out. But the point is, regardless of style, I think these are just really good songs, very catchy. Peter has a great voice. He still drummed on the album as well. And yeah, I just really like it. Like, I'm Gonna Love You, great vocals, like very kind of soul-based, I suppose. And then You Mattered to Me, that's interesting. That sounds like almost like 70s, not disco song, but it's got a very 70s flavor anyway. Then track 3 is Tossin' and Turning. That's the cover of the famous blues song. I'm not sure who sang it originally, but I really like that song. Peter's voice on it is awesome. Then coming into track 4, we have the first ballad, which is Don't You Let Me Down. I really like this because it shows the range of Peter's voice. Like he does different things, not just the raspy voice, but this kind of slick, silky, polished voice, and very emotive. So I really do like that song. Track 5 is That's the Kind of Sugar Papa Likes, which is interesting. That's got a kind of swing time rhythm, and again, very 70s in flavor, but really good riff, and it's a very feel-good song, like easy to sing along to. And I really like his ride cymbal drumming in that. So That's the kind of sugar Papa likes. Then we've got track 6, which is Easy Thing. That is like a tear-jerking power ballad. Really good, and it actually gets really heavy. So it like starts off the dynamics like starts off very softly at a low volume, and then when it kicks in with the drums and everything, it's this big thunderous power ballad. I'm not sure if it was, but I think that should have been released as a single. I think the ones that were released were Tossin' and Turnin' and You Matter to Me, but I think Easy Thing could have been a hit possibly. Then we've got yet another ballad. Oh, sorry, we've got Rock Me Baby, which is like big band. Imagine yourself being in a New York jazz or rhythm and blues club. That song is actually really good. That used to not be one of my favorites, but I do like it. Kiss the Girl Goodbye. That's like a somber sort of hippie-esque ballad. Still not bad though. Like I prefer all of these ballads to Beth, honestly. And then track 9, Hooked on Rock and Roll. Yeah, that's like old school, 1950s rock and roll style, and I like the pianos in that, and Peter's voice, you can tell he's really getting into that song. And then track 10 is the tear-jerking power ballad, I Can't Stop the Rain, which is very sad and depressing, but it captures that emotion so well of, coming out of a relationship and wanting to get back together and knowing there's no chance and being very sad about it. It just really captures that emotion very well, and Peter's voice, and oh God, it's enough to drive you to tears. So yeah, I think he really displays his vocal abilities on this album. So there's the front cover. So the green, I kind of like that, it's cool. And then same insert with all of the credits and everything. And poster of Peter, the Catman there, the drummer. And on the inside, we just have, of course, the disc. And yeah, with all of these reissues, they have a little blurb on each album, as does Paul's one. Yep, so like I said, widely misunderstood, but I think it's very underrated. And it's not metal, it's not hard rock, but if you're open-minded enough to just hear great vocals and emotive, catchy songs, check out Peter Criss's solo album from 1978. All right, so like I said, I don't have Aces and Jeans on CD, but maybe one day. All right, sorry if my voice sounds weird, like weirder than normal, and because I'm coughing, it's because I've been sick the last few days. In the country I'm living in, the air quality is really bad at the moment due to farm and forest fires and everything. So the air pollution is absolutely horrible. Air quality is shit, so I've been a bit rattly the last few days. But okay, so what we're going to do now is get into the live albums. So first of all, this is the Kiss Alive box set, which I bought in Australia. So Kiss Alive is the series of live albums. So when did it come out? I think Alive, Kiss Alive, the original one came out in 75, then Alive 2, 78, Alive 3 in 92, something like that. But I don't actually have Alive 4 because that was the one that the band performed with the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra. That was considered a big deal, so that's not part of this. The fourth disc on this one is Kiss Alive, the Millennium Concert, which I believe was in Canada. So during the reunion tour. So we have all 4 Alive albums in this box set. Here, just the slipcase here. And I'll talk about, you probably don't need to know this, but just in case, I'll have something to say instead of just showing it. But here, you just have this nice box set. So all 4 albums there, which is very cool. So I'll just give you a quick rundown on each one. So yeah, Kiss Alive, which came out in 1975, that's when the band was about to go bust because they had released 3 albums, Kiss, Hotter Than Hell and Dressed to Kill, and they weren't selling well, they weren't successful. So then they said, oh, we feel that our music isn't properly captured on the studio album, so we'll release a live album which captures all of the energy and excitement of the concert. And as a result of releasing Alive 1, that's what made them explode into fame and wealth and everything like that. So that really opened the floodgates for them. So yeah, on Kiss Alive, you've got songs from the first 3 albums. So Kiss, Hotter Than Hell and Dressed to Kill, all really good, and there's a lot of energy. Yes, I know there was some criticism because there were some overdubs and like effects of crowd screaming and everything and explosions, but most of the footage was from them performing live. But yeah, Kiss Alive 1 is a great album because of course I like the first 3 albums, but the studio versions, they're not very energetic, whereas this live version is. So most people love Kiss Alive 1. Then we have Kiss Alive 2. What they did for this was record only live songs of the next 3 albums. So albums 4, 5 and 6 which were, you're testing my memory here, Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, and Love Gun, all great albums as well. So it is a good album, a good live album again, but I don't like it as much as Alive 1. I don't know, it just, maybe because the Alive 1 was the original idea, and I wish Alive 2 had a live rendition of Love 'Em, Leave 'Em, which is my favorite 70s Kiss song, but you know, what can you do? But what makes Kiss Alive 2 really special, in my opinion, is not so much the live songs, but the actual, they recorded several studio tracks on this, you know, as a kind of bonus element, I suppose. But that starts with All American Man, which is a song sung by Paul. Absolutely brilliant song, like so hard, like straightforward hard rock. It's so rock and roll, and I don't understand why they didn't play that more live. I think I saw them with the Eric Singer and Tommy Thayer lineup. They played that once, and they said, this is a song we've never played before, and we may never ever play again. But All American Man, such an underrated Paul Stanley song. I just love that. Then you have Rockin' in the USA, which, as people know, that's a Gene song. That one doesn't grab me particularly much. Like, it's not bad, but it's not great in my opinion. But the Gene song, which is really good, is Larger Than Life, like really heavy, and lyrically and in terms of the sentiment, it is so Gene, so absolutely fantastic. Then another great studio song is Rocket Ride, which was sung by Ace. Again, brilliant song, excellent guitar solo in that. It is so Ace Frehley, so I love that. And then there is a cover of Any Way You Want It, which is a bit nah, but it's all right. And they also include a bonus live track, rendition of Rock and Roll All Night, which was the one that became famous with Ace's guitar solo. So with Alive 2, I do like it, it's not bad, but I think the highlight of Alive 2 is the studio tracks, in particular, All American Man, Larger Than Life, and Rocket Ride. All three of those songs are excellent. And yeah, Bob Kulick played some lead guitar on that because Ace was AWOL for some of the time. Okay, then disc 3, we have Kiss Alive 3. So that's interesting. That was recorded in the early 90s with a lineup of Gene, Paul, Eric Singer, and Bruce Kulick. And what I like about Alive 3 is, first of all, the production is excellent and it really captures the energy of the crowd. But what's also interesting is it includes material from Kiss's 70s, 80s, and 90s discography, like, well, at least from the album Revenge, which came out in 92. So a lot of diversity on Kiss Alive 3, and yeah, absolutely fantastic. So it mixes the songs together so well. And then disc 4, which is the Millennium Concert in Canada, this is probably the most underwhelming album for me. Like, again, to me, it's just kind of like another Kiss live album, really, except it did include songs from the album Psycho Circus, because this was during the reunion tour. So from that, it has Psycho Circus and also Into the Void, which is the Ace song from Psycho Circus. And then, yeah, just a mix of mostly 70s songs and a couple of 80s songs. But yes, as a Kiss fan, I was very happy to get this. So just show you again, it's a digipack with all 4 albums. And what's really interesting about this, for the memorabilia and the trivia, they've got this massive effing booklet, which I'll try to find if I can. All right, so here we have it, loads of pictures and liner notes. So covering all of these albums, it just goes on and on. But if there are any Kiss fans out there, I think this is a nice item to have because it just has everything rolled into one in terms of the live albums. Look, nice glossy color booklet with a lot of notes, blurb. I should read this more actually. One day when I sit down and listen to them all together, I'll probably do that. Yep, there's the Alive 2 poster. Yeah, and they tell you a lot of interesting anecdotes about how the albums were recorded and, you know, problems they had, that kind of thing. Yeah. Wow, look at that. I think that was the Love Gun stage from 1977 where they had the rising platforms and everything. Cool. Yeah, so Kiss are, of course, renowned for their live performances, and like, you know, everyone knows they put it on a great live show. That's the Alive 3 poster. But for that reason, I think a lot of people consider them like a gimmick or circus act. Yes, it's true, like you've got to go to a show to experience those explosive effects and everything, but to me, it's not just image over substance. It's not like a circus act because the music is very hooky and catchy, but when it's all rolled into one in a live setting, absolutely brilliant. So I think even non-Kiss fans who like rock music or metal music would probably love a Kiss live show because it's so full of energy and excitement. However, sadly, their live career is over now since they've officially retired, and this time they mean it. Actually, I'm not sure if they do, because Paul Stanley said they were open to doing more shows in future, so will it ever end? Probably not. But yeah, great live album compilation here. So loads of music, hours of fun, absolutely fantastic. So that's the Kiss Alive box set, one alive, not 1 to 4, 1, 2, 3, and the Millennium Concert. All right. Okay, so what I've covered so far in this video is solo albums and live albums from the 70s, mostly 70s and 80s. So I'm just going to fill in the bits and bobs with live albums and compilations now. So up next, this is a live album from the 90s, which is Kiss Unplugged, from their performance on the MTV Unplugged series in 1995. So this was the lineup, which featured again Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Bruce Kulick, and Eric Singer. But for a couple of songs at the end, they brought on the old members, Ace and Peter, to perform with a few songs. So what's interesting about this, so like it's completely acoustic, they don't plug in at all. Like, yeah, Eric Singer is on the drums, and yeah, acoustic bass, acoustic guitar. And what's interesting is you get these kind of unusual song selections because they suit the acoustic nature of the music more. Like there are a few big hits in there, but there's some other songs which you don't normally hear live, like Coming Home, Plaster Caster, which is one of my favorite songs from Love Gun, Going Blind, and these are like talking some unusual ones that you don't hear very often. A World Without Heroes from The Elder, See You Tonight from Gene's solo album, I Still Love You from Creatures of the Night. Unfortunately, Every Time I Look at You, I don't like that song. But yeah, you see what I mean. Like it features some hits, but also like a lot of the songs that I just read out there are songs you don't normally hear at a Kiss live concert because they're more sort of mellow. So it's really interesting, but still absolutely fantastic. Bruce Kulick's lead acoustic guitar is just mind-boggling, absolutely brilliant. Like when you hear him play solos on songs like Rock Bottom, and I fucking love that song. So good. It's absolutely great. He's just how would you describe Bruce Kulick? He's just a fingersmith, inhuman in his ability to play guitar. And then at the end, of course, Paul says, okay, we've got a few members of the family here tonight. We're not talking about mum and dad. We're talking about Ace Frehley and Peter Criss. So they come on. And so then you have Ace, Gene, Paul, and Peter performing 2000 Man and Beth. And then after that, they bring on Eric and Bruce, so all 6 members up on stage now to do Nothing to Lose and Rock and Roll All Night. So yeah, really good album, but I will say this, unless you're a die-hard fan of Kiss, this probably won't make much sense to you. So if you don't know Kiss, I wouldn't recommend starting with this one. Just go to the studio albums, but this is sort of for people who really love Kiss and are really into the music. Yeah, just very interesting because there's a novelty because you've got the modern lineup, but then the old members come on and then they all perform together, and also because they perform some unusual songs on this. So yeah, very cool. Yep, so there you have all 6 players on the back. And just show you the booklet. So there's everybody. And this was, of course, the concert which sparked the reunion. So it was filmed and recorded in 1995. And after Ace and Peter came on, you could hear people in the audience yelling out, reunion tour, reunion tour. And you see Gene looking around going, yeah, I think we can make something out of this. So, yes. So the rest is history, as they say, because after this, then it was the reunion. So sadly, Eric and Bruce lost their jobs. Eric for some time because he came back. That's later in the story. But yes, good Kiss album for Kiss diehard fans. This is MTV Unplugged from 1995, I think. All right, just one more CD to talk about today, guys. This is a compilation. So this is Kiss Gold, which was released by... I'll put it down the bottom. Yeah, so this is basically studio song compilation album covering all of the famous songs from Kiss's 70s period. So this was the first Kiss CD I bought. Like back in the day when it was a friend at work who got me into it. Believe it or not, I only discovered Kiss like 20 years ago, something like that. And like, it was a friend at work. He said, "Oh, you like Motley Crue, AC/DC, what about Kiss?" And I said, "Oh no, they always pass me by." And he said, he made me a compilation DVD of all their video clips, and then I became a massive fan. As a result, I bought this in the beginning, and it's a very good album to start with because it's covering the classic 70s Kiss era, like where they all had makeup and it was the original lineup. And what you have is basically from the studio albums, starting from Kiss up to The Elder, you have 3 greatest hit songs from each album. So that's a compilation. Like, for example, from the first album you have Strutter, Nothing to Lose, Firehouse, and Deuce. Oh no, and Black Diamond, so sometimes you get more than 3. And then from Hotter Than Hell you've got to Choose, Parasite, Come On and Love Me. Oh, so like that's from Dress to Kill, but you see what I mean. 3 or 4 greatest hit songs from each album, from Kiss to up to The Elder. So that's covering about 7 albums. Yeah. No, 8 albums actually, so really good. So all of the famous songs are on there, you know, like Shout It Out Loud, Rock and Roll All Night, Cold Gin, you know, all of the classics from Destroyer. Every hit song classic you could imagine from every 70s Kiss album, it's on here, and it comes on 2 discs. And what's interesting is, in addition to that, they also feature 1 song from each of the solo albums to give you a taste of those 78 Kiss solo albums. And what's also interesting is, after The Elder, they also include 2 demos recorded by the band, which were Nowhere to Run and I'm a Legend Tonight. They were the songs that the band recorded after there was a backlash for Unmasked and The Elder, because they were kind of like pop rock and rock opera albums, and like diehard fans hated them. So then they said, right, we're going to get back to our rock and roll roots. So they recorded these demos, Nowhere to Run and I'm a Legend Tonight. But then, of course, everyone knows what happens. They went into the studio with Bob Ezrin, who said, "Nah, fuck that, we're going to make a rock opera," because he had a coke habit. So those 2 songs never saw the light of day, like on a Kiss album. So as a result, The Elder was created. But yeah, great album, great compilation. So what I would suggest is, if you're new to Kiss and you just want to know about the roots, like the 70s era, this is a very good place to start. It comes on 2 discs. You've also got some liner notes talking about the history of the band and their formation in the 70s, some photo shoots, solo album pictures there, live photos. Ew, that's from the Elder era, where they looked a bit cheesy. Like someone said, Paul looks a bit like an aerobics instructor with the short hair and the headband there. But yeah, and so it comes on 2 discs because you have 2 or 3 songs from each of the studio albums in the 70s and early 80s. So, and there we go. Yep, so this is just purely a straight up compilation, but good for starters and people interested in the classic era of Kiss. So that's Kiss Gold, a double CD. Alright, that's it guys. So in today's video I've just covered live albums, solo albums, and compilations. So the next time I talk about Kiss, I will be talking about their 90s and beyond albums. And I don't own all of those, so I can't really do an official ranking, but I will try to come up with something there. But as I said, I know most viewers of this channel don't like Kiss, so I'm going to take a break from that for a bit. In the next video, I'm going to do another edition of Black Metal Vinyl. So I have the next 10 videos organized in terms of what I'm going to talk about. So yeah, that was those loose ends from Kiss today, and then Black Metal Vinyl will be in the next video. So thanks for your patience with watching this. It didn't take too long by my standards, but I am aware that a lot of viewers of this channel don't like Kiss, but I know some of you do, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe you learned something. I hope so. But yes, in any case, thank you for watching. And by the way, I have had quite a few new subscribers recently, so I really appreciate that. Thanks a lot, and hi everyone. And please don't unsubscribe if you don't like Kiss. Next album I'm going to be going back to black metal, and as I suspected when I did my Black Metal Vinyl Volume 8, it got way more likes than the vinyl tag, so that's telling me something. People want to see black metal on this channel. So you've asked and I'm answering. Next video, Black Metal Vinyl, I promise. Alright, so thanks a lot for watching guys. Thanks for your support of the channel. I won't keep you any longer. Take care and have a great day. Cheers.